Hi, everyone. Welcome to StreamYard Tech Talks, the show where we talk about streaming technology and everything you need to get done with your streaming. So, if you're a streaming geek like I am, get ready. We have a great guest today on our show. Leo Mindel, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome, Daniel. You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Well, I'm really excited to have you on the show because you've been doing some really, really cool and advanced stuff. You've produced some really big events using StreamYard, and we'll talk about some of those today. And why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do and what's your firm, and we'll take it from there.
Sure. So my name is Leo Mindel. The company is Sotic, but also I have a streaming agency which is called ShockAV. So ShockAV, we have been working since the lockdown time, delivering for various different people in the world of streaming. And what we've been using a lot has been StreamYard. So actually, although this is Daniel's show, it is actually me that is behind the keyboards at the moment, which is quite worrying for Daniel. So we've been doing things whereby people are able to take streaming and make it look professional using StreamYard, but go out to all of the relevant channels of Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And just make it appear far more interactive and far more exciting than they see when they normally see stuff that comes out on other platforms that weren't designed for streaming.
Awesome. Yeah. And so, just as an intro there, what we're doing is actually both of us are logged in right now under my account in StreamYard. And so both Leo and I can be producers of the show. Leo is right now managing the layouts and who's being featured on the screen, and I'm managing.
I think it's great. Daniel, keep your hands in the screen. Keep your hands in the screen, Daniel. Then they know that it's me doing it.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, look, no hands. So that's a cool trick here. When people ask about producer mode, how do we get to produce different? They get another producer on the show. That's the way to do it. You both log in from the same with the same user. What it also allows you to do is connect more destinations in. So, for instance, Leo is also streaming to his Facebook destinations and I believe YouTube, right? Yeah, you added your YouTube.
Yeah, video? Facebook and YouTube. Yeah,
Facebook and YouTube. And I don't have access to. I don't know his passwords to his social profiles. He just logged in here, connected them, and he can disconnect them when he is done. So that's a great trick. And so Leo, why don't you show us what you've got on your desk, because I'm dying to see it.
Right. So to show you a few of the things that I'm doing, and you will see a lip sync issue with me today because I'm using an external production product called Ecamm, but I'm going to show you what my layout looks like from where I'm sitting. So this is me. I took this picture just before we went live, so you can see what my desktop looks like. And as you can see, I have 2 Macs and 2 other screens along with lighting. And we're not going to talk about lighting or cameras today, although you can see my camera there, which is a Panasonic Lumix. But what I'm able to do from sitting there is able to control and manage a number of streams, a number of elements on there. So that's how I lay out my desk. What do you think?
Well, I wanted to ask you. Well, first of all, envy, because you've got how many computers there and my screens. But why do you need all these different computers? Got two PCs, right?
Yeah. So I have 2 Macs. The main reason is for backup redundancy, but also from the point of view that we are when I'm doing live events, typically there are videos that need to be streamed in there, or there's control of other elements, and you need to be able to push stuff through and run it. So that's why I use As I said, I'm using at the moment today Ecamm, but also use loopback for the audio. So that's and I have to control various different elements that appear in on the screen at the time.
Okay, so we'll ask about the loopback for the audio in a second.
Yeah.
So you got different computers, so you can focus on different. You basically bring in different content. And why do you need all those monitors? What's with that?
Because Daniel, you can never have enough monitors.
Yeah,
you can never, ever have enough things to look at. So
okay,
there's always something else to look at.
Let's show the photo again and just explain
sure.
maybe what you use each monitor for.
So normally I would have the mainstream. I actually, although it's showing at the moment in the lower window, I normally put the mainstream at the top window so that I can then control it. So I'm away from anything that comes in there. And then on the bottom screen, I would have Ecamm showing with the videos rolled and ready to load. And I can show you that when we do a video test in a minute. The other stuff that I have up, we also, because a lot of what I do is production with other people. So we will normally have up to 2 or 3 people in the back end of StreamYard. And we use something called Discord to communicate between us so that we can actually sit there and while one person is controlling the screens, another person is controlling the messages. And that makes the production far more effective. And you'll notice that when you see certain productions and when you see certain people are using it and how that they flip between views like this all the time, right, and they're pulling things in. So some of that you can't do because you're only concentrating and focusing on one thing and not another. So that's why I do it, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, got it. And and to that you mentioned multiple tools. My buddy Chad E.F. Peterson is here with us today. He and I have a show called Superlucid, which is a different kind of show, but he uses OBS, and then we stream it into StreamYard, and then he manages some aspects of the show from his end, and I manage some of them from my end. So yeah, you can do. Sometimes it's good to have 2 computers or 2 people.
Absolutely.
To really do this kind of function.
Absolutely. So, I mean, as you can see, when I flip between that view that you're looking at me now or this view, I'm flipping, as I said, on using Ecamm. But one of the great things that I can do with that is I'm doing that through a Stream Deck. So I'm being able to move between different views. And anybody who does a lot of production of a lot of stuff, you'll start getting to the point where you're going to be using keys to be able to move between things really quickly.
Right. Okay. Let's touch on the Stream Deck here for a second.
Okay.
Okay. Just for Danny. That's Chad there. So what are your top 3 shortcuts on the Stream Deck?
Okay. So I'm going to try and see if I can actually show you my Stream Deck. So there is my Stream Deck on there. So I'm able to sit there and for my own buttons bring in. So I cheat slightly. I run StreamYard in Canary. Which is the beta version of Chrome. So I can always bring StreamYard to the front by just clicking once on Canary. Then I can bring Ecamm to the front, and then I've got the buttons to go next into the next things. Obviously, the most important buttons, which have got nothing to do whatsoever with streaming, are the ones to control Spotify, so I can choose the next track to when I'm listening there, making cuts.
Totally, I agree.
Yeah,
the Spotify buttons are the most important.
If the world, that's it. There you go. So
I'm just gonna hit my button there.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. To cheer for that. So okay, cool. Love that.
So one of the people was asking a question, and I did say this. One of the things that I'm running is loopback. And I'm going to just bring that in as people are asking why is my audio slightly off sync. I'm going to bring it in the old-fashioned screen share way just to show it. So this is loopback, and loopback is the ability for me to control the audio that's coming in. So my audio is coming in from my microphone down here, and it's going out the output channel, and then in StreamYard I'm bringing in output channel there, and I have completely different audio set up for internal. When you're doing that and you're doing a camera through a USB, you will get an out of sync. And I know it's out of sync. I can bring it completely back into sync, but because I want to show you some stuff on video, it's like you decide what you want to choose between the choices of the different things. But when I'm doing, you have to remember that normally when I'm doing live events, I'm not actually on screen. So I'm just sitting behind the screen. So I wouldn't, if this was just me on a live event, I wouldn't be using this setup.
Okay, so let's talk about your how you manage live events. When you do sometimes big live events, or oh, okay, that's the question. Yeah, Facebook user.
That's the question
Thanks,
I've just
Facebook user.
answered. So
Yeah, just
yeah,
answered. Already done.
sorry. Yeah.
So yeah, so when you produce live shows and you've produced some big ones, how many people are on the production end? How do you sort out the roles between you guys?
Okay, so typically we will have up to 4, but normally 3. And then we'll have the 3 people. We'll have one person who's calling the actual event. So they'll be actually just saying, this up next. We've got 20 seconds to go on here, 10 seconds in here, bring this on, bring that on. So they're just calling the whole event. One person operating the cameras. So that's moving around the scene settings. So this is doing all this thing that we were doing earlier. So we bring that in. And then a third person who's doing the graphics and bringing in the relevant, the stuff from the comments that come in from people who are watching.
Like
so
this.
So that's it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So awesome. So 3 people, and then how do you communicate between you during the show?
Good question. So we use something called Discord. Discord is the same tool that a number of the gamers use. And what we do with that is we are actually listening to each other. So because of lockdown, we're obviously separate. We're in completely different locations. There's nobody sitting next to each other. But we're actually talking on Discord all the time. The way we do it is because obviously those 3 people are not on screen, so they're able to talk and listen to each other, and they're not coming out on there. When we want to talk to somebody who is actually live who are actually on the stage, we have a separate Discord channel that we can actually talk to them, and there's a push to talk, so we can talk to them at that time. But none of it's inside of StreamYard, because otherwise it will cause issues on there.
So Pumis is asking, how do you access it? I guess he means how do you access Discord? Like, is it
if you Discord you access, it's a program that you download. It's sort of similar to Skype. It also has an ability to do chat the same way as WhatsApp, but it's or the big thing that most people who may be on this will be familiar with is Slack. But the audio quality on Discord is really, really good. It's a great product for producing with.
And because you're not the host of the show, you're talking to each other on audio while it's all happening, right?
Absolutely. But what I have with using Loopback is I actually push my Discord into one ear. So when I'm live on and one of the other producers is actually listening, I can actually hear it in one ear and the rest of the show in both ears. So I don't have to change ears or don't have to change anything. So Neil, you can hear it in one set of headphones and that's it. I'm running at the moment Bluetooth headphones, which are in-ear Bluetooth headphones. And that's how I'm hearing everything on this call.
Carol is asking, how do other staff log into the administrative piece while the other person is live? I'm not sure logging into.
Okay, so what you're asking about, Carol, is when anybody logs into StreamYard, it goes and sends a 6-digit code to the person who's owning the StreamYard account. But you can actually log in multiple times. So we can have 4 people logged in as administrators or producers into the back end. And they have exactly the same account and exactly the same control. Obviously, there's some difficulties with there. You need to make sure that the people you bring in, you trust. So you don't ever bring in Tristan. And you have to bring these people in and make sure that because they actually have control of the ability to start and stop the stream.
Yeah, exactly. So just to clarify that, if somebody didn't pick up on this, the 2 ways, there's the official way of bringing people into your show, which is through the invite link. Then the person who enters through that link has limited access. They can't manage, they can't produce the show, they can't add destinations, they can't even see how many people how many viewers you have in the live, all that kind of stuff, right? you're controlling them. All they have is the camera connection and the window. If you want to add a producer to the show, we don't currently have an official producer invite yet. But what but because we don't have a login with a password, they can just log in with your email address. You will get the email confirmation with the 6-digit code. You tell them, hey, just use this code, and they're in. And that's it. You're done. So then both of you have exactly the same rights. We see that's a very popular. There's a lot of people commenting back and forth about that in the comments. And you can do this on any account, actually. So even the free accounts can do this. And then it just whatever rights your account has is what will propagate for all your people who are logged in at that moment, because it's simply your account.
I think I'd also add, as you said earlier, Daniel, one of the really useful ways of using it is if you have somebody who you want as a guest in an event, and they have a really high following on Facebook or on YouTube, you can actually log them in, get them to then set up the destination, and then the destination is set up so they don't feel uncomfortable about handing you the keys to their destinations. And that's a great way of putting it in, and then you can take the destination out afterwards. The one to be clear about, as many of you who've tried it will know, that Periscope is a little bit more complicated in that it keeps dropping you out if you try and add in multiple Periscopes. So I would always do that. And as for LinkedIn, you're a big LinkedIn user, aren't you, Daniel?
I wouldn't say a big LinkedIn user, but yeah, I stream to LinkedIn. I have a podcast I stream there, and so on. So yeah, and I think right now we're streaming to LinkedIn as well.
We are on
LinkedIn. Yeah, we are. You see, I don't even remember what I hooked it up to. I have like a bunch of different destinations here right now.
So some of the bits that we don't know is I haven't watched all of the ones that you've clicked on, Daniel, and you haven't clicked on all the ones. So we don't know if we've missed a few of the comments. So if we have, it's our fault. There is one here that is a quick answer. Is there a way to reduce the delay when streaming? No, that is actually the way that streaming works. Streaming is live, but it's different speeds for different people when they're watching at different times. There are some ones which are faster and slower. Personally, I find a trick, if you're ever interested, is Periscope is, I find, faster than the others. Also, it has a really nice trick. If you subscribe to somebody in Periscope, not in Twitter, in Periscope, you can then on your mobile phone come out and carry on using your phone, and the audio still plays, which you can't do on YouTube or on Facebook, because the minute you walk away from the page, you lose the audio. But the quality on audio on Periscope is less, I find, than it is on the other platforms.
Right. And to add to that, there's also just a natural delay of if somebody is watching your live, they joined in a bit later, or they paused it and then they continue, they might be out of sync with your live. They might be essentially watching sort of behind, or a bit of a replay. And so their comments might be coming in like 10, 20, 50 seconds after, or maybe even a few minutes after. So we definitely see that sometimes.
There is a quick one, and yeah, Phil, I'm absolutely with you on this one. Moderating trolls on Periscope is challenging, if any of you have had to deal with it. The moderation tools on YouTube and Facebook are really, really good. You can kill people straight out of the in the platform, but you can't on Periscope at the moment. But it is something I know that has been raised by other people in the past.
Yeah, that's lots of. I see a lot of discussion as well in the comments that are kind of taking off track. And one of the things that I did not do, which I wish I had done, which is a cool tip here for moderation and managing comments, and knowing how to spot the questions for the show versus side track conversations, is asking people, if you want to ask a question, or you want, then use the hashtag ask, and we'll have you on the screen. If you, because that way we can spot it easily, and we know you're not just answering or asking somebody else in the comment.
It is. There was on the town hall, and it for those of you who are new to this area, StreamYard does a town hall every Sunday. For me, it's Sunday 2:00 in the morning. For anybody in the east and the west coast, it's a much more comfortable time. And it did come up that people were asking about threading of comments that came up as one of the points this week.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you know, always worth knowing about. So I just wanted to give you some other things, some other tips of the things that I do. One of which
Yeah.
is about branding. So
Let's talk about the branding, because that is really, yeah.
So one of the things that people always ask about is things like, how do we bring in sponsors so that we can do something? So I'm going to show you here. So I've got a background here, which is quite busy, but it's busy on purpose. And you can see there's a brand here. What we're able to do is I've got that's down as a background, and then I have an overlay, and this overlay sits on the top here. Now you'll look at this overlay and you'll say there's nothing special about that overlay, but if I show you in the fast update version of this overlay, what actually is happening is the overlay is an animated GIF, and so I'm actually pushing in adverts or different logos from different sponsors for an event that's coming up in a couple of weeks' time for me, to show you what that really looks like if you break the two elements down. If I go back to the old background, you'll see that now it doesn't look very good because it doesn't match, but you can see the effect is there, that it's just an animated GIF that's sitting over the top that I've created. I created that in Illustrator, push it out, and there's a GIF maker, which is a website you'll find. You can put in 4 layers, tell it how to animate it, how fast you want it to be on, and it'll all work. And I find that to be a really nice way to be able to put in sponsors so they're not always on your pushing really fast. I know this is the fast update of it. Normally I run it at about 30 seconds per transition, so over the space of 2 minutes it will go through its rotation of 4 different animations. So I find that quite useful.
That's amazing. Now, so just touch up on that. So you described clearly the technical side of how you did it.
Yeah.
In terms of getting the sponsorship, so you're doing this for your customers or for your own show?
Yeah, so I'm running events for my customers, and they are getting sponsors for their events. That one is for something that's coming up in about a week and a half's time for Cambridge University. They have a discussion talk on various different things, and they've got 4 or 5 sponsors. So that's how we bring them in there, for them to show their sponsors, and everybody makes them happy.
Great. And yeah, see, Chad is poking fun of me, but the question I think is really valid. Like, how, at what point would sponsors be interested in you? What kind of audience would you need to have? Or I know you might not want to disclose the specifics of your agreements, but what is your advice there?
So sorry, I missed that. It was my fault. Ask me again, Daniel. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sure. So in terms of gaining sponsorships, at what point do sponsors become interested in you, or what kind of sums of money are we looking at here?
Okay, so I don't actually sell the sponsorship because obviously it's not my shows. On my shows that I do produce, which are for me, are all about skiing and snowboarding, and I'll be happy to have a free meal anywhere in return for you can have as much sponsorship as you like. But it's about delivering to the audience. And if you're delivering engagement in the audience, and we talked about it, we're now back in a very plain mode. But normally, as I was saying before, when I'm doing the production and we're doing things, I tell you, anybody who produces and shows, there's some people in the StreamYard team who do both the production and they're on shows. Hats up to you, because it's just hard work being on the show as well. But you really, if you're producing something and you're continually producing it, you will get long-term sponsors. And putting them up as I did before, just to bring that up really quickly again, so that you can see that sort of thing puts those sponsors in people's face for a long time, because you can leave it on during the whole time. It's very similar to sort of stadium advertising around the outside of the ground. Yeah, and it works without having it to be too fast on there.
Okay, so I've seen a number of comments asking, did you do this with StreamYard? And the answer is yes.
Yeah,
right? You just uploaded the GIF. That's it.
So let's
recap it quickly so we can.
Okay, so I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be fun. let's see if this works. Okay. So hopefully you can still hear me. Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. So you're now seeing on my window the outside of StreamYard. So in StreamYard itself, you'll see that I have got the update, which is the animated GIF is there as an overlay. So there's an overlay there, and it's the one that's selected as an animated GIF. And the background is the one at the bottom here. At the moment, I'm on the blue, so I'm going to go to the other color. I'm afraid every time I click on something, you're going to see the screen roll through. So I'm just putting myself in the middle to try and stop that, so you don't get that parallax never-ending list. So I'm just going to do that and go to that one.
There you go. There it is.
Yeah, so it's the only way I can do it. So I'm jumping to there. So you can now see that I've chosen the same. The graphic on the background is the same as on the top of there as the one that's being used on the clip at the top. And if I go to a very not completely different background, as you'll see, that's where you can see it sits in there. Hopefully that makes sense. While I'm in this mode, I'm not going to be in this mode for long, but I think it's good to show it. I'm going to show you how I do long form videos. So one of the big problems, or one of the things that we have to work with StreamYard is how do you play a long form video. So what we do is we put in 2 stings, a build sting and an end sting. So I'm just going to play the build sting now, and then what's going to happen after the build sting is it's going to bring us back to just my screen on me. So that's if I can do all of these in one move. Okay, so you should now be soloed onto me, and you'll see that I built a build screen that comes back into this screen of that has exactly the same end of the build to what's on the screen. Obviously, it's not going to line up now because I'm not quite in the middle of the screen. So I do that. I then run the video in Ecamm on there. Okay, so I'm running a live video in here, and at the end of the live video, I'm not going to play the whole of the video. I go back to a holding screen like that, which holds the holding screen, which is there. I then run the out video, which is inside of StreamYard, which is the sting out. And fingers crossed, you're going to see us both back on the screen again. So that's a way of running the long-term videos or long-tail videos.
Yeah, and so
okay,
yeah, that easy. Yeah, I love it. You got so many tricks, and it's so many different ways of doing things. Every time on the show, we show different ways of doing something.
So I've gone. I think the longest I've gone in a single event has been 8 hours. And in that 8 hours, there have been sections of different videos that have lasted up to an hour. So a whole session was recorded. And you can see that by mixing that through, you can run videos from an external channel, an external way of doing it.
And so the point of the holding image, let's just kind of review that. Why do you need a holding image?
The holding image is the magic that always makes it work. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to literally, if you imagine we were talking here, and I'm going to say, and now I'm going to, this is going to be horrible for Daniel. I'm going to remove Daniel from the screen. So I can say something like, and now I'm going to bring in my guest. And it just covers the using short sting videos, which you upload into StreamYard, covers all the seams, papers over the joins between each of your transitions.
So basically, it's more it's not a necessity. It's just to create a very nice experience. So you don't see the weirdness of the process.
Absolutely. That's absolutely the point is if you look at anything when you watch TV, you notice that transitions or stings are used to be able to mold between one view to another view. What I find very good is create your stings between 8 and 25 seconds. Sounds a long time, sounds a lot longer than you normally do on TV. but you've got to press a lot of buttons in that time. You've got to be ready. You've got to go, have I got the right view? Am I on the right look? Am I on the right thing? Have I got everything ready? And that gives you the time. So it's a really good way of doing it.
Agreed. And it's always good, you have to add in another 1 or 2 seconds just to sort of focus your mind and say, okay, what am I doing now? Okay, yeah, I need to do, okay. Then again, double check. Okay, good. I'm ready. I'm calm.
Exactly.
And if you're communicating with somebody else as well at the same time, and you have to listen, that slows down your everything as well, right?
Absolutely. And that's where you've got to try and look at how you can use this platform. Make sure that you're using it in a way to bring to life the people, because we're all familiar with we haven't got a blank background. We're all familiar with that view.
Yeah. Yeah.
That view with names on there and a certain company which starts with Z. We've seen that view for the last 9 months. That's all we've seen. That's all people who are watching your program are used to. So when you take that view away and you start putting information in and you bring it to life, then suddenly people are going, right, I can see that it's an interesting view. They can see various different ways that you can see the difference of this.
Yeah, and it's so true, and also just the psychology in this of the the fact that if there's motion, the eye is kind of hooked onto it. If it's static, then you can just walk away. It's just attention grabbing. I see. I see.
A lot of these comments that are coming in, Daniel, seem to be from your other people. And they seem to be a direct question about your video skills. Tell those that don't know about your other shows and why they should be watching them.
The show has been completely hijacked. I'm the guest. I'm no longer the host of the show. So I also produce a show just for fun with Chad, or I thought Chad produces a show with me. He's the one that does all the work there, and I just I guess I just inspire him. Frankly, I'm not sure why he needs me. But yeah, we use it's a different show. You should check it out. #SubPellucid, and see, we do kind of kooky stuff in there in terms of technology and layout and other stuff. And Chad is big into OBS, and he does really amazing stuff in there. So you can check it out. We'll have Chad on this show too, and he could talk about how he uses OBS with StreamYard and does a few cool stuff. We'll have him come in someday. He's quite a whiz at these things.
So there's a good question here from Chris about the limitations. So we have to remember that there is nobody has a toolkit that consists of one screwdriver. StreamYard is a brilliant platform, but that doesn't mean to say that it's the only thing you can use and use it just on its own. And we've got to be careful about that. I mean, a good example is StreamYard is not designed to be a meeting room thing where you've got 250 people, and I wouldn't use it for there. But there are so many things that StreamYard is really good for, and you can mold it with other things that you're used to. So I will use it with Ecamm. I'm also a user of Wirecast and OBS, but they all have different tools and they're all different things to be doing different points. But there are some limitations, and one of the things that we're all wanting to find out, the sound and the video of linking two things together. I'm using one of these, USB, HDMI to USB converters for my camera. I love the view. I love it. But it does absolutely. The fans on my Mac are just going mad all the time.
Yeah.
But it's just what you want to use. And if as I said before, right at the beginning, if I wasn't playing around trying to show you the back end, I definitely would take away from the I wouldn't be off sync here, which I can fix, but I wanted to show you things that you couldn't normally see.
That is great and kind of you. Ernie is saying that proper stingers, you need transparency, and then you're stuck with the GIF and no sound. I have no clue. I think you would.
No. you do, it depends what you're trying to do. So the stings that I put in here, the ones that are, I will show you again really quickly. This sting is a video. It's not an animated GIF. It's a full-on video. It could have been 25, 30 seconds. If you are a good thing also to use for the stings is to actually have ones with audio on, so that you can mute your guests, because it auto mutes anybody when the sting plays. But it's up to you.
Okay. Another very common topic we have here, Bill is talking about, asking about the ATEM Mini and the Rodecaster Pro, right?
Yep.
So now ATEM is like, some people say ATEM, some people say ATEM. It's all over the place, right? Do you have any of these tools? Do you use them?
I've got it. I actually should have. I'm not going to get up to get it. I've got an A10 Mini Pro and an A10 Mini over there. I prefer for audio. I'm on a PreSonus Studio 24. Yeah, they're all required. There's lots of things and things. Again, it's what you need. Daniel, how are you doing with your A10 Mini since the update, and now you can dim the keys?
Yeah, I love the latest update and dimming the keys. That was made me happy. It wasn't that important because I've got good lighting in here. I'm not one of those
Yeah.
dark studios, but you can't. You'd have to adjust the camera here, so you can see my ATM Mini. I've got an ATM Mini. You can see my messy desk now, and I
Hold
got
on.
all these cable ties, so I can't move it. It's fixed, and I got my little Stream Deck and ATM Mini, and you can definitely use the ATM Mini with StreamYard. The one it comes out as a HDMI. Yeah, there you go. I've got the Pro ISO.
Let's have it the right way up.
I have the Pro ISO, which gives you output both as HDMI and as USB-C, and so you can.
So does the Pro.
You can just so there's the Pro. The Pro doesn't do the ISO recordings, and I want it.
No. So ISO isolation recording is the audio is recorded into individual channels. The Pro doesn't do it, but the ISO does. And
so
it's
yeah. Go ahead.
Which is again a little bit, I know, a bit tricky, but a lot of people on StreamYard also request that, and I know it's been on the list of ISO recording of audio. So if you're doing podcasts and you can split it into there, I heard it's on the feature list, but I couldn't tell you when. Wouldn't know.
Right now, these tools, I mean, it's just a hardware. So essentially, it's just entering your computer as a feed. So you can use it to bring in complex manipulations and then just stream it simply and use StreamYard from there on. What else have we got here?
I think that's a really, at the end of the day, StreamYard is a cloud-based production suite. What you brought into it is down to you. I haven't got the clips here. I should have done it, but I've got clips of weddings. So we've done a full thing. We use PTZ optics cameras so that we were able to follow the bride around and do all of those sort of things and then show that. And then, but that was all. We then had her family. So the wedding was in London in the UK. We had her family in Canada, New York, and somewhere. One was in Israel, and we were able to bring them in individually into the various different bits during the actual service. It was absolutely amazing. It was an amazing service, and it worked really, really well, all through the power of StreamYard.
Yeah, great, love it. Chad is asking about your audio interface.
Okay, so if you're on my side of that, very quickly, I did show the picture. I wonder if I can show you the picture again. Hold on, I will go back to my setup. So I have I can't see where to point to it, but I have a PreSonus Studio 24C, and I've got Marantz mic. Normally I have big headphones in, but when you're trying to when you're a producer and you're trying to say to people, wear headphones, if you're sitting there and you're wearing these, they don't want to know about it. when you put in these sort of headphones, small headphones, they're much more interested in doing it, and they're much more listening to what you're asking them to do.
Yeah, I'm just going to get a couple of short questions, a couple of technical questions here. Where was this? Let's see, lots and lots of questions here. I'm losing track of them. Okay, somebody was asking if we're going to do the show every week.
So that's why we need a
Yes,
producer.
That's why we need a producer. It's really tough to do this.
Absolutely.
And there's some people who are good at it. Not everybody is as great as they are.
Yeah.
I will mention a little shout out here to Diana Martinez. She's going to be doing a show on Friday in Spanish for anybody out there who's Spanish speakers, StreamYard users. It's a show all about StreamYard in Spanish. So that'll be cool. You'll see it in on our page and on YouTube. Okay, what else have we got here? Yeah, here Neil was asking about the show. Yeah, every Tuesday. We've got it already fully booked for the year. Well into January, so it seems that it's pretty popular.
Have you got Neil on? Neil's great. Neil is absolutely brilliant. If you've ever I've watched Neil on shows before, really good producer.
Awesome. If anybody wants to be in the show, just give me a shout out. DM me, we'll get you on the show. The whole point of the show is to sort of learn from people about how they do stuff, what tech have they got, get a little geeky about it. And it's really for those who really want, not just to go live, but just like really have fun with it and do more stuff than just that in a professional manner. Connor is asking, can you add your own custom background? No, you can't for the free account. That's the limitations of the free. You can stream, but you get to stream. We get to promote our brand. That's the deal. What else have we got in here? Okay, do you have suggestions for the best lighting that you can purchase? So what lighting are you using in there? I think.
Okay, so
whose lighting do you think is better, yours or mine right now?
Oh, I think you. So there's a big difference. I very rarely am on a live show, although I've got reasonable setup. So if I turn my front lights out, you'll see that I just go into normal lighting. I should turn off my main lights as well in this room, which does make a difference. But I'm normally, I need people to be able to see me, and that's it. Lighting is key critical, but I haven't purposely lit this room to be super great. And these lights that I've got are, well, it was on the Amazon sale, which of course everybody knows there will be Black Friday in about 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, everybody's waiting for that. People have, actually put in the comments your wish list for Black Friday. Like, what are you waiting to buy? I know a lot of us have a wish list of lighting or microphones or different things. Second camera. What's on your wish list? I'm going to turn on my light here, and we're at it. Let's see what difference it makes, if any. Okay. Somebody is Chris was saying. I heard that we're both clicking. See, this is what happens when you have two producers at once. Yeah. You don't have clear role definitions. This can happen. Not a big deal. Mm-hmm. But Chris was saying that he heard that some StreamYard producers can make $250,000 a year. This doesn't surprise me. I have seen quotes out there for a few $1,000s a day in just producing. Are you comfortable talking about the rates you're charging?
I'm pretty comfortable. We charge 2 flat rates now. We charge around about £300 for an event that's somewhere between an hour and a half, and then for a day rates, our rates are around about between 1,000 and 1,500 a day. It depends on the thing. If we're talking, you have to remember that our day rates and our thing also include setting up the week before the event. We will have a run through where we will sit down and go through every single person. We will go through their audio, their video. I did all of this and I covered all this with a show with Dana. So go back and have a look on the StreamYard Connect with Dana. And we talked about all the various different things on Spotlight, actually, sorry. And what we were doing and how how you need to prepare people so that actually a live event is going to work, audio and video, and just adjusting all those things. That's really key. We use Google Docs and particularly Google Sheets to create live running lists that we go through, and we will mark those all off, and then rehearse. So actually we may only charge for the live event, but the live event, when you then remember there's 3 people sitting behind it, sometimes is a lot of manpower and a lot of time.
Indeed, it is. And you were telling me the other day, you said that you said you have 3 people running producing an event, running an event, and I was like, oh wow, that's a lot of people. And you said, no, that's a very small number of people. You're right. So I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
if you problem.
If you compare how many people were sitting in a gallery at a live studio for any TV programs, they were up on 100 people in the gallery. Yes, we're not doing color balancing on cameras. Yes, we're not doing vision mixing to the same level that they're doing it, but we're producing programs that people are watching, and we're producing shows and other things that are going out there. And that's key. That's absolutely key for what people are using.
I agree. Yeah, it takes work, and as we've seen, and if you're doing a big event for corporate or something that's a full day, with multiple speakers, there's no way a single person. It's just impossible for a single person to manage it. It's just impossible. It would be a genius.
No, as I said, so going back to the question you asked me about my live production and how we do it. As I said, we have one person that is calling the show, one person that's doing the screens and the cameras and moving that around, and one person who's doing the animations and the overlays and the videos, etc. So that's where the 3 come in.
Yes, lots of comments that I haven't shown much there. I haven't shown much of them, but a lot of people saying gold content and a lot of really nice comments about you and your content. I love it, and about the show. Powerful stuff. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of these. And I know not all of them came from your friends. I know my friends are just saying, it's just Chad saying nasty things about me. I haven't been showing those.
That's all right. That's fine. I think the other thing that also what you find when you're a producer and you start getting to it, and this is a good example from Veronica, when we put up a question like this or a comment from someone like that, we'll actually realize we have to read it 3 times on the screen because it's so quick. You realize you put things up too fast and take them down, and you start getting used to the levels and the ways that you have to do with this stuff. It is hard work.
It is hard
work. They seem to be having a go at you about your your TV program, don't they?
Yeah, that's some kind of sidetrack. It's some yeah, we're just gonna ignore them.
Okay. They're out there. They're out there. They're out there.
They're out there. Yeah, they're out there. But hey, it's boosting our viewership and comments, which is always a good thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Can I use my video camera to share screen instead of screen share? Yes, you can, Henry. So I am actually my video camera is coming through. That's what I've said. So I can, because I'm using an external product. As the one I'm using on this one is Ecamm, and sometimes I use OBS, sometimes use Wirecast because there's different needs. You then share that in. So that's why I'm able to sit here and I'm still talking, and you can see that I'm able to jump between there and I'm able to push through to various different pictures, but it's still just me.
Right. And for those who have an ATEM Mini, who are talking about ATEM Mini, you can also bring another laptop as a source into the ATEM Mini, and then you can just switch cameras. So instead of switching to another camera, it switches to another computer. And that way you can essentially share a screen on your camera instead of on your, or actually this would be a screen share from another computer instead of from a camera. And so if you wanted to have 2 computers at the same time, you could sharing screen. There are like all kinds of funky hacks like that.
So I think this is an interesting question, and there's an interesting answer to this, Lewis. So what people are saying is, 10 people in the system, it's a limitation. I agree. Some of us will remember it was 6 not that long ago, so right. 10 feels luxurious. However, I think you have to look at where you're going to and how many people are on the stage. So I think it's a very similar argument about theatre production. You can have 10 people on the theatre on the actual stage, but everybody in the room is involved in the feeling. I know that's the problem that some people find when they compare this to, say, for example, Zoom, and they're saying, but I can have hundreds and hundreds of people. It's like, yes, but do you really want every single one of them sitting right next to you while you're broadcasting? And you can control it. You don't have to use social media platforms as the ones that we talk about, the typical Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can also use things like Dailymotion. Dailymotion has the ability for you to live stream. You can also go out to the Amazon platform. You can go out to a number of other platforms, and that can be restricted in the people that you want to view it, or it can be open. So it's up to you.
Right. That's so true. You can stream to some of these places. There are so many different weird places you can stream to that it's interesting with the custom, just with the custom RTMP. Whenever I type in RTMP, it autocorrects to SMTP, and
maybe you're just an old school mail person rather than a video person.
Yeah. Old school is true. Yeah, at this point I'm old school. Well, I think we'll give it a chance for like a couple more questions maybe, and then we can wrap up. And also streaming on your own website. Do you have any tips there how to how to live stream on your own website?
Yeah. So following from what Tristan was asking, take your stream from YouTube or from other platforms. So Dailymotion, the other ones, there are a number of others. Vimeo is a good example. It depends what you want to deliver. I would always say this to people, and I have a lot of discussions about people say, well, they either don't like a social media platform, or they're saying I don't get enough viewers. You're not there to promote the social media platform, but you're also sitting there going, if that's where your audience is, use the power of that platform. Taking, for example, a YouTube clip and putting it onto Facebook gains you nothing, because you're not using the power of that platform. So I always go live to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter natively, so that it appears as a live event there, and that's how you gain and gather followers. And that's where you push it through. But putting it on your own website, you can also do it using the YouTube embed is obviously one of the easiest ways. But as Tristan is very kindly listed out, Dailymotion, Vimeo, AWS, Google Cloud, I'm sure there are many, many others that will come out as the world moves forward.
Yeah, and I guess final question from Chad. SRTs, do you use SRT? I don't know.
No, because at the moment, I'm doing all the production in one place, and we're using everything. Sorry, we're doing it through the StreamYard thing. So, and my understanding of SRT over NDI is the ability to send the signals across the internet. And one of the things that took me away from the platform we used to use to StreamYard is the fact we don't have a single pointer of failure. So if Daniel or myself drop out, this stream will continue. In fact, we can both drop out for about 25-30 seconds, I think, and it will still continue. But we're not reliant, and at the moment that is a real key difference. When I've tried to use the old platforms I used to use, where you bring everybody in and then NDI them onto your thing, you're massively overbearing any internet connection on a single point at home, because your upload speed is the problem.
Wow, that's like super specific. I mean, it's really important, and most people don't think about that stuff. So really great information here, guys. You can keep talking in the comments, and I think Leo, maybe for anybody who doesn't know you here in the audience, if there's maybe just give a little shout out to you and tell people where can they reach you and find out about you, and if they want to know more.
Sure. You can find me. Funnily enough, you don't find me very much, but you'll find me on Shock. Is the stuff that I do for live streaming in the UK. ShockAV. My other real company is this one, Sotic. We're a digital sports agency, so we work for governing bodies and federations around the world, doing all their websites. So that's where you can find me on that as well. And watching streams and where you can definitely find me is in the StreamYard community. In the Facebook group, and ask questions, and we'll try and answer them.
Awesome. Yes. So shout out to the Facebook group, and if you're in any of our channels, check out the other channels. We've got YouTube, we've got LinkedIn, we've got a bunch of other shows. And always remember, before you go live, turn on the Do Not Disturb mode on your computer. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.